It's on.
Alright, Shalom.
Shalom.
Giving all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GreatMillStone that rule impeccably well. And Shalom to the Akim that's pushing this truth. It's sincerity across the four winds. Alright, we just want to get into a quick video with the brother
Raza.
And I'm Yakanan from the GMSLondon camp. And we just want to, speak very briefly on this whole Blackface situation. You've had a lot of controversy around the whole Blackface situation. Is where you have in the late, in the 50s, during the 40s and the 50s, when you had so-called white men basically taking, mocking so-called Negroes, man. Painting their faces black, painting their lips red, and basically mocking us, man, mocking us for our appearances. And you've had the scandal. You had Katy Perry, release I think it was a pair of shoes that resembled blackface, and you had Gucci that released a polo neck that was basically mocking as well, because it had the red lips on a black polo neck. All right, so that just shows you that the elites of this world, that's the way they see you Negroes, man. That's the way they see us Israelites, in a mocking fashion, man.
Yep.
All right, and they show it to you in their clothing, in their movies, and the positions they put you in, in your everyday working life.
That's right.
They show you that you're of no value in their society. That's why you always get these subliminal messages and controversies and scandals happening. It's just a reminder to let you know and put you in your place as an Israelite, man.
Yeah. That
you're still in a subservient state and you're still on the bottom.
Yeah. All
right, you are still on the bottom. Yep. All right, but we're gonna go into this guy, by the name of what do they call him?
Master Juba.
Master Juba. All right, which he was a Negro, but they actually made this guy, wear blackface, man. And everyone at the beginning they thought he was a so-called white man. All right, but when they saw his skills, his dancing skills, there was a clear separation, man. And he actually became famous, because they liked him for his skills, and he became famous. And that's kind of like how it is now, where you got these celebrities, as long as you can do something that pleases Esau and entertains him, all right, they're gonna actually, hold you of high esteem in their society, as long as you be a good boy and do what you need to do. And that's exactly what happened with this guy. He was kind of like the pioneer of that kind of trend starting.
Come, I must needs get this for you, brother.
Come.
It says Sirach 13:4 says, if thou be for his profit, he will use thee.
Oh man. Alright.
But
if thou be for his profit, he will use thee. Right? So that's the only time you're gonna find a place in this so-called white man's kingdom. Right? If you be for his profit, if it benefits him, if he can use you, man, if he can promote you and make money out of you, man, make merchandise out of your abilities, then he will use you. As the brother just put out, man. That's the point.
Yeah, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee.
But if you have nothing to bring to the table, he will forsake you. He will find no use for you, and then he will just take you out of the game. That's why a lot of these celebrities, what happens at the end of their career? Esau will murk them off, man. He will cause something to happen. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, all the greats, Bill Cosby, he will just take you out of the equation if you have no more use, man. Right? He will immortalize you.
Yeah.
You had Tupac and Biggie, because they can make more money from you when you're dead when you get to a certain point than you being alive, because what's going to happen, your record sales are going to spike. All right, because people, they get into that mourning state. Oh, this artist is gone, that artist is gone. You become immortalized, man. So he can forevermore reap off of your death more than reaping off of your life.
That's right. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear and will not be sorry for it. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee and smile upon thee and put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair and say, what wantest thou? Right, and hey, this is what would have been going on with this guy, because they still hanging niggas.
Yep.
Right, they still hated niggas. Right, but hey, man, this Negro can make me some money, man.
Yeah.
So look, man, I'm gonna smile at this nigga when I need to smile, but if he crosses the line, I'm gonna remind him he's still a Negro.
That's right.
Right. So I'll go back to the first article. So it says, so lucrative was blackface that even African American, which real name is Israelites, performed with little. Performers had little choice but to wear it if they desired a modicum of success with white audiences.
God.
Such was the case with one of the most famous black stage actors of the 19th century, William Henry Lane, better known as Master Juba. He was forced to wear blackface until he became sufficiently famous around the globe to travel, sans blackface, with a troupe of white actors. Lane astonished audiences dancing a modern Irish jig and reel set to syncopated African rhythms, which laid the foundations for tap dancing.
So this guy laid the foundations for tap dancing, but he was a Negro. He was an Israelite, man. And they forced him to wear blackface, even though he already had blackface.
Yeah.
So he would appear to be an Edomite, just a regular Edomite wearing blackface. But his talent, super succeeded, right? And it came to a point where they didn't even care that he was a Negro, right? Because he was entertaining them. And he became famous, and then they actually made him tour worldwide. But this was a slave, man. This guy just came out of slavery, because there was in them times where, our people were of a lower state, and we couldn't even really do anything, man.
Oh, I think this guy, the article says he was born free.
He was born free. Okay, so it was during that period where
but still that period,
they so-called set them free. But still, in society, they were looked at as slaves still, yeah? But, he was doing things, man. Because he was pleasing the people, he was putting on a good show, so he had more rights than your average Negro.
Yeah. Hey, these nations still look at us like slaves, man.
Yeah.
What was it they do with these Ishmaelites with Abid, right?
God.
And all of that. They still look at us as slaves, man. So, hey, imagine back then during that period when you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right? So it says, what was it? He was a prodigy, dancing in public from age 10 in the mid-1830s, yet he had to humiliate himself in order to proceed.
He had to humiliate himself to succeed, man. And what are these artists nowadays doing? They do that, man. Why trimmest thy ways to seek love?
That's right.
That's what they're doing in society. Some of them are selling out to the so-called white man, doing it all manner of grotesque things to get up in the white man's society, man. Right? That's what a lot of these artists actually do,
That's right. He says he had to, as a foundation, exist as a carnivalesque gag on stage so that his white viewers might, after a hearty laugh and jeer, have a chance of noticing the extraordinary movements of his feet. In this way, blackface was a demeaning vehicle to success, a prerequisite for achieving posterity well into the early 20th century.
Yeah. So, that's what, man was using to get ahead in that society. Blackface, man. Demoralizing yourself, man. Becoming lesser than so you could, succeed in Esau's kingdom. Right? And again, that's still happening today with these artists, man, that are basically in Esau's kingdom, Esau's music industry and entertainment industry, trying to get ahead. They've demoralized themselves, man. They do all kinds of wicked things to remain on top.
That's right. Second article?
Come.
Cool, from the top.
Yeah. Well, not from that bit. The Irish bit.
Oh, okay, can.
Because that first one actually covered a lot of it, man.
Oh, shit, I lost it. Oh, yeah. So it says minstrel shows. Minstrel shows began in the US in the 1830s when working class white men, usually Irish, blackened their faces with burnt cork and dressed up as plantation slaves while imitating black music and dance and speaking in the plantation dialect. The shows featured a variety of jokes, songs, dances, and skits that were based on the ugly stereotypes of African-American slaves from 1840 to 1890. Minstrel shows were the most popular form of entertainment in America, and they, and they only died out completely in the 50s with the advance of civil rights. Only white actors were allowed to perform in minstrel shows until 1838 when Lane... Am I reading up too early?
Sorry, bro.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Only white actors were allowed to perform in minstrel shows until 1838 when Lane began performing minstrel acts. But even he was required to wear blackface makeup. It seems absurd now to think of a black man being forced to wear makeup so he can look like a white man made up to look black.
Yeah, what kind of confusion is that, man? That's madness. This guy was actually forced to wear blackface, but he was already a Jake, you know, so the people could perceive him as a so-called white man wearing blackface. You know, that's how they had it back then, man.
Yep. It says it made up to look black, but that was the only way he was allowed to perform. In the early years of minstrel shows, white audiences simply would not tolerate an actual black man on stage. But Juba's enormous talent made him so popular that he was soon able to perform in his own skin.
Yeah, so they wasn't tolerating any so-called black man at that time being on stage, man. We couldn't even go on stage. We couldn't perform. We couldn't do any form of entertainment, man. Because that hate was still there, man. You know, that hate of you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American was still vivid in the so-called white man's mind. And it's still there unto this day, man. It's still there unto this day. That's why the scriptures say, never trust thine enemy, man.
That's right.
But they still hate you. Don't think just because, you know, you're functioning in a society and you can do certain things and you can live where they live to a certain extent, that doesn't mean they don't hate you, man. They still hate you.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Hey, you want me to current?
Yeah, a little bit more in there.
Yep.
Jump to some scriptures.
It says the Juba dance. Most American slaves came from cultures in Africa that had relied on drumming as a means of communication and personal expression. Slaves were not allowed to play drums, so they began to use their bodies as instruments. Over time, the hand clapping, foot stomping, body thumping, and thigh slapping evolved into a dance called patting Juba. Right, Lane combined patting Juba with the jig and reel dances that he had learned from his poor Irish neighbors and added many other ethnic dance steps he had learned.
Hey, them poor Irish neighbors could have been Jakes, man. You know, they actually could have been Israelites. Because a lot of these dances that he was doing, they actually came from the Irish as well. And then he took it onto himself and put it into his own style.
Yeah.
That's why we preach that, look, man, a lot of Jakes are going to look like so-called white people.
Yeah.
You know? You got to go into the history of the Irish too. A lot of them can be Jakes, man.
Yeah.
You know, some of them ain't, but some of them are.
Yeah, and that's what we read. It was in the other article, which basically saying it was mainly the Irish that would do, you know, doing it. And it takes me back to a statement, Elder Apostle Tahar made about, hey man, you gonna have a lot of them skinheads, right? That'll be, you know, trying to kill niggas and shit, right? And they'll be Jakes, man.
Yeah.
Right. Says and added many other ethnic dance steps that he had learned, such as the shuffle, the slide, buck dancing, pigeon wing, and clog into a new dance that became known as tap dancing.
So this guy is the pioneer for tap dancing, man. You know, he added all of them styles into his own thing. That's Jake, man. That's what Jake do. You know, Jake are innovators of things, man. You know, they bring new things upon the earth, man, through the spirit. You know, the former of all things.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. As his reputation grew, the promoters began to call him Master Juba, the dancingest fellow ever was, and he was proclaimed the greatest dancer of all time by American and European writers alike.
See, that's it, man. So this guy that just basically, you know, was existing in the time of great animosity towards our people, even in that lower state, was actually, you know, hailed as one of the best dancers of his time. You know, so that just shows you, no matter what state Jake be in, we're always going to excel through the spirit. Because we're the Lord's people, man. So no matter what situation we're in, we get into a situation, we're going to dominate that situation and come out on top, man. You know, and that's how you know. That's another testament to our people being, you know, the Lord's people, man. You know?
That's right.
But I think that's it on that one.
Yeah.
We can go to a few scriptures
and
then close out.
It says Matthew 5:13 says, "Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost its savour, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot." Yeah, hey, Israel's the salt of the earth, man. Right, and no matter what state, and when you read the first article, what basically what it was talking about, it basically said that when you read the top of it, it was speaking about how, you know, these Edomites, right, you know, these so-called white people. Right, they basically were putting these things together in an offensive way and in a defensive way. right? Because it made it easier for them to what do you call it, to quote unquote deal with the the Negro problem.
Yeah. And they said that people they feared greatly.
Yeah.
They said they actually feared the Negroes as
Yeah.
well. So it was a way of lightening, that fear that they had, man, was just mocking them.
Yeah.
But it's clearly said in the article that they feared the Negroes, man. Even though they had them in slavery, they feared them.
Yeah.
Because they know, spiritually we're stronger people than them, man.
Yeah. Hey, that's why you've got the what do you call it? You've got the idea that Jake are just raping, to just go out raping white women.
Yeah.
Right? Was it the original Birth of a Nation? If I remember correctly, there's a scene where it's like Jake, well, I believe it's a white man in blackface, right? He basically quote unquote rapes a white woman and that, right? And that's one of the things and these are all the things that they fear of Jake. Right, what were they doing? They were mimicking Jake dancing, mimicking Jake, how Jake talking. You see that to this day. To this day, hey, you might be walking, whatever, and Jake just might have that natural bop in it, right? And then what will these Edos be doing? You might not see them, but then they'll start trying to bop like you behind your back, sniggling, right? They might start trying to talk to you, and then be like, how you doing, man? They'll be like, hey, you right, blood? And you're looking at them like, like, relax yourself, man. These time man usually gives a handshake, but he wants to give you a fist bump, and you're like, dude, relax, man.
That happened to me yesterday. That happened to me yesterday, bro. When I was on the job and that, because he saw I was a Jake, I reached out to shake my hand, but he looked at me, he done the fist bump instead,
Oh, man.
God.
It's, we read that one. It says, Psalms 137:3 says, for there they have carried us away captive. So for there, they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
So what's that talking about? That's talking about carrying us away captive into the land of America, man. The so-called white man. White man required of us a song, because that's what they used to do, make us dance, man, and commit acts of violence upon us, laugh at us while we were doing it. That's how they had us. That's how these so-called white men had you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans in slavery, man.
Yep.
Having you doing all kinds of madness, man, mocking you.
Yep. Yep. It says, and they that wasted us required of us mirth.
And they that wasted us, man. The scriptures say in Daniel's, they have the saints about weared out the saints as well. That's what they've been doing in slavery, wearing us out, man. Wasted us, man. Completely, took us for, animals, man.
Yeah.
In the way they treated us. And also when it says, if you can read the first part again.
For there, they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
Required of a song. Because they're still requiring of songs from us to this day, man. The music industry is one of the biggest industries, economically wise in the world, man. It generates billions, man, in the entertainment industry, man. And that's really, fueled by Jake making that music, man. And that's mirth as well, man, because what are they putting out? They're not putting out no good messages, man. It's pure mirth, pure about killing other Israelites, selling drugs, committing adultery. That's what the music industry is made up of, man. Just pure wickedness, man.
That's right. It says, and they that waited us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. Yeah,
sing us one of the songs of Zion, man. So they were mocking us, even making us, sing, our holy songs, man, that we had, and, taking the piss, because why they took us down as a nation, man.
That's right. So it was a lot of scripture on that.
Yeah, so, we quickly wanted to get into that. Lord willing, it was edifying. And, until next time, shalom.
Shalom.